The day the moon winked. High on a shelf in a dusty old shop lived a little blue teapot named Myrtle. Myrtle wasn't just any teapot. She had a tiny, painted-on constellation of freckles on her spout and a chip on her handle from a great adventure involving a tabby cat. But her most secret feature was a wish. A single, shimmering, stardusted wish that had been baked into her porcelain the day she was made, waiting for the right moment. Myrtle's home was the Curiosity Shop, owned by a kind, forgetful man named Elmer. The shop was a wonderful mess of ticking clocks, forgotten books, and headless dolls. But Myrtle's favorite thing was the moon. Every night, through the high, grimy window, the moon would peer in, painting a silver path across the floorboards. One evening, the moon didn't just peer, it seemed to stare directly at Myrtle. And then, something extraordinary happened. The moon, clear as day, winked. A single, brilliant speck of light shot from the moon, zipped through the window, and landed right inside Myrtle's pot with a soft ping. "Oh," she whispered, her china trembling slightly. She peered inside. There, nestled against her smooth interior, was a tiny, glowing seed. It pulsed with a soft, silvery light, like a captured moonbeam. "Hello," squeaked a tiny voice. "Is this the way to the ocean of dreams? I'm dreadfully lost." The seed had sprouted a single leaf that was now waving at her like a little hand. "You're inside a teapot," Myrtle explained gently. "I'm afraid the ocean is very far from here." The little seed plant wilted. "Oh dear. I was supposed to be planted there by midnight so I could grow into a lullaby tree. Without my roots in the ocean of dreams, I can't bloom, and without my bloom, the world's dreams will become gray and forgetful." Myrtle knew about dreams. She'd heard Elmer's sleepy mumbles from the apartment above. They were important. She looked at the silver path on the floor, the one the moon had made. It was a road. A moon road. "I'll take you," Myrtle declared, her chip feeling braver than ever. "But we'll have to be quick." Using her spout, she carefully tipped herself onto her side. She rolled off the shelf, landing with a soft clink on a stack of encyclopedias, then onto the seat of an armchair, and finally onto the floor. The moon road was cool and hummed under her porcelain. She began to roll, cradling the little seedling inside her. They rolled past the ticking clocks, whose hands waved in encouragement. They rolled past a grandfather clock whose deep tick-tock called, "Good luck, little pot." Finally, they reached the shop door. But it was closed tight. "Oh no," Myrtle sighed. "We're trapped." The seedling inside her glowed a little brighter. The key, it peeped. Above the door. Myrtle looked up. There, on a rusty nail, hung a large, iron key. But how could she reach it? Just then, a headless doll wobbled over. She bowed, then lay down on the floor near the door. A rolling pin from the kitchen nook clattered down and propped itself against the doll. It was a ramp. "Thank you," Myrtle cried. She rolled up the rolling pin, launched into the air, and tapped the key perfectly with her spout. The key fell with a clatter. She then nudged it towards the keyhole. It was too heavy to lift, but the seedling stretched its tiny leaf out of her spout and, with a grunt of effort, pushed the key into the hole. Myrtle turned herself, and the lock clicked open. They pushed the door open and rolled out into the quiet night. The moon road stretched down the sleepy street, over a hill, and toward the distant sound of the sea. They rolled and rolled, past houses where children were already dreaming, their dreams waiting for the lullaby tree's bloom. They reached the cliff top where the moon road dipped down toward the roaring, star-reflecting ocean below the ocean of dreams. "We made it," the seedling cheered. But the cliff was too steep. Myrtle would tumble and break into 100 pieces. She knew what she had to do. It was the perfect moment for her wish. She tilted her spout to the sky and whispered her shimmering wish into the night. "I wish for a parachute." Not for a moment, not for a second, but poof. A small, checkered handkerchief, left over from Elmer's pocket, tied itself to her handle with a piece of string. It billowed out in the sea breeze. With a joyful cry, Myrtle rolled off the cliff. The handkerchief parachute caught the air, and she floated down, 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 landing gently on the shimmering surface of the ocean. The salt water wasn't scary, it was warm and fizzy, like ginger ale. She tipped herself, and the little seedling tumbled out, sank into the water, and immediately took root. In seconds, it grew into a magnificent, glowing tree with silver leaves that shimmered softly in the breeze. One magnificent flower bloomed at its top, a bloom that looked just like the moon, and it opened with a sound like a soft, contented sigh. All around the world, in their beds, children and grown ups sighed in their sleep, their dreams suddenly filling with color and magic and joy. Myrtle bobbed happily in the fizzy water. The moon, full and bright, winked at her again. This time, she was sure she winked back. The end.